Welcome, church. This is Evan Kerstetter, and this is the 180 podcast, stories and testimonies of redemption, grace, and God's love. This is an opportunity for people in the church to share their journey of faith and sanctification, and we are all called to share our story and not keep it close. So on this episode, the first episode of season 2, I did not tell you that,
Wow.
So the honor is yours. I have Paige Meyer here with us, so
Yes.
yeah. Paige, before we get this thing rolling, I'm going to pray, and then the floor is yours.
Amazing.
Father God, just thank you for this opportunity on a dreary morning, an early morning. We just give you all the honor and glory. We just ask that you use the words that we say that they'll touch people and just ultimately give people a glimpse of you within our stories, Lord. Just thank you for Paige and her being flexible and waking up early to come share her story, Lord. We just give you all the honor and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, Paige. So I'm kind of upset that you haven't been listening to the podcast.
Oh, my goodness. I know. I'm embarrassed.
Now you have to go back, listen to all of them.
All of them.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Yes. I have off today, so I have all the time in the world. I need to listen to all of them.
Good. So I gave you an overview of the questions.
Yeah.
So first question, can you just tell me about your upbringing? Like, were you raised in the church and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was raised in the church. So actually, Bethany is my home church. I've been here since I was a baby. Like, I know my parents used to go to a Mennonite church out in Farmersville, and then I think it was when I was born, they moved over here to Bethany.
Okay.
So this is the only church that I know. I've been coming here my whole life, and I love it. So I grew up in the church, and my whole family have always been Christians. I would go to Bible school as a kid with like my cousins and at my grandparents' church. So definitely always had that around me, and just like faith, and that would have been how I grew up.
And you have a brother too, right?
I do have a brother, yes, younger brother.
Josh, if you're listening, respond to my text.
Respond to his text.
Get you on the podcast.
Come on the podcast.
So yeah, how old were you when you accepted Christ then? Like, walk me through that.
Yeah, so I was in 4th grade when I would have accepted Christ, and that's when I got baptized. Was in 4th grade, and you know, I've always thought about like, when was like my moment of like when I like would have accepted Christ. I'm like, well, I'm thankful to have said that it was, you know, when I was younger and in 4th grade, and I understood what that meant. But I will definitely say that it was like, honestly, my senior year of high school when I had the awakening of my personal faith with the Lord, and like understanding what that meant, and that the walk that you have with the Lord, that's your own. So yeah, it would probably been like 4th grade, so like, you know, elementary when I would have accepted Christ as my savior. And then end of high school was like, okay, this is what that looks like.
Did you go to public school or private homeschool?
Yeah, I went to public school. Okay. So I went to Cacalico. Yeah, Cacalico.
I remember playing that in soccer.
I was a soccer too, you know.
There you
soccer
go.
Player.
Probably make some connections there.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know if I remember anybody anymore. So, okay, accepted God, young age, 4th grade, and then had that kind of, like, hey, high school, this is what I'm doing. So what was life like before your 180 moment? Like, to me right now, it sounds like it's been pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, it had its challenges for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like my, like, 180 moment would have been a gradual, like, you know, leading up to it, which makes sense. I think that was something I really struggled with in high school, because I felt really weird not knowing what my testimony was yet, and not fully understanding what that is.
I can relate. I remember being like, because Lecrae was big at that time, I was like, man, like, he was doing drugs and all this stuff, and like, what a cool testimony, and I'm here like Christian church kid, and now what?
Yeah, exactly.
Be careful what you wish for. Then I was at the ranch.
That's for sure. That is for sure. So yeah, I know, absolutely, Evan. That's the same way for me. I was like, a lot of friends. So like, being in public school, you hear a lot. Like, there's a lot of different people there, and you know, I would have said that like my high school experience, I didn't have the like crazy party phase of myself. I was always the chill girl that like was nice to everybody and just kind of did her thing. And so I was kind of sitting there with friends that, you know, had that part of their life that they were walking through.
Right.
And, you know, I was the person then to like, hey, that's probably not the best thing you're doing, you know? And I'm like, where's my moment of like, this is where I found the Lord? And honestly, a lot of it was through soccer. I played soccer since I was in probably second grade, and then played up until my junior, well, actually technically freshman year of high school.
Okay.
And I mean, that was my identity pretty much all of my high school life. Like in middle school, I identified myself as like soccer player, and I was so deep into like, I need to be the best on the field so that people like me and that I'm, you know, outstanding, and that's what my character is soccer. And I ended up having a like ankle injury where I was struggling with that for like 3 years probably of my life, where I couldn't exercise. So they found out that like when I was born, my ankle bone was like off centered. And so it was throwing a lot of my ligaments and tendons off. So everything was kind of off centered. Right. And then they're very loose. So I was always spraining my ankle, always rolling it. And so I couldn't really play well.
Right.
And could barely even play. So a lot of times I was, you know, either in the trainers, on the side of the bench. I was in a boot, in a cast, and something for like, in PT, trying everything that I could. And it was so defeating because I'm like,
that was your identity.
That was my identity. Yeah. I'm like, now it's something that I can't even do. And I poured so much of my life into that. And then that also led into where I had my 180. And so even through that, I joined FCA. And so I was a leader in FCA at my school. And that was really hard too, because I'm like, I'm leading these people in like a sports like ministry, but I don't even play. And I remember asking one of the leaders of that, I was like, is this even allowed for me to be a part of this if I'm not even playing? And she's like, well, it's fine, like you did. And I'm like, I just feel so weird. I feel fake. And yeah, so that definitely was like hard for me, because I mean, I of course loved doing it. And then I saw that as like a place, I mean, girls soccer at Calico. I wonder if it's gotten better, but it was not it was not as like it was not founded on the Lord. And there were like sprinkles of Christians in there, but they didn't have like a good foundation. And so relationships were not very good within that team, and people weren't very close. It was kind of a mess. But I was like, oh, I can be that here. And then I couldn't anymore. So yeah, and then leading up, and then that when I had my surgery, so I had an ankle surgery, and that then threw me off for a whole other loop, because I wasn't able to even play soccer anymore. It wasn't like, oh, you're getting surgery so you can play your last season. It's like, no, you cannot, because you could mess up your other ankle and get a second surgery. Like is.
So they're like surgery and then soccer, sports, done. And
it was kind of like, even within like I remember having the conversation with my parents, like I didn't want surgery. I'm like, it's like, I'll suck it up. It's fine. I'll walk it off, you know? And I think a lot of pressure from my coaches as well. Like they saw it as like, well, Paige, you just need to play through it. Or like when you get your surgery, you're going to play, right? And so knowing the answer was no, I was like, yeah. Right, maybe. Just like, I didn't want to let anybody down. Right. Yeah. I wanted to play. And I just felt that once that was taken away, like, who am I? Right. You know? Like, which...
Yeah, I mean, if this all happened freshman year.
Yeah,
right?
Freshman year.
You're trying to find that friend group in high school, and then it's... Yeah, now what?
Exactly.
I'm just a lonely freshman.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just walk in the hallways, and I don't have the thing that, and asks you, like, what's a characteristic about yourself? I always be like, oh, I play soccer. And then that would immediately, like, oh, like, bring people together. And it's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah. So this is all leading up to the 180 moment, or was the surgery that 180 moment?
So this would be leading up to it. So that definitely was part of it because, I was a very active person.
Right.
Growing up, I was always very active. I mean, even as a kid, like, I was always doing sports with, like, Josh and my family, and we were always a very active family. And so that also felt weird of, like, I can't get off the couch and, like, go play basketball or go throw football or go play soccer. I'm stuck here. I can't even work out or anything like that. And so for a good bit of my life, it was just, like, I couldn't work very well. Like, I couldn't really work because I couldn't stand for a certain amount of time. And so it was majority of me, like, sitting on the couch. And so with that, I lost a good view of food and exercise. So I didn't have that healthy balance anymore of, like, oh, when you're exercising, you also need to make sure you're eating enough and eating well. And so I did start gaining some weight, as one would. Even, your body's changing when you're in high school. Like, there's a lot of different things. And so end of high school then, when I got my surgery, that was like, okay, full force, I can be active again.
Right.
So it was the healing process, which was very hard because you're just like, I just want to be better. But the thought of in my head is like, I will be better.
Right.
I may not be able to play soccer anymore, but I can at least, like, go for walks again. I can go to the gym. I can go for a run.
Right.
And through that, I also went on some diets to help with, like, inflammation and stuff like that. And that is where I did a full spiral and just lost all idea, like, just every good thought about food just went down the drain. I did no sugar for about 1.5 years, which it's good, like, for a healthy reason.
It's hard to do because everything nowadays has sugar.
Exactly. Like, you eat nothing, which was, the thing. And so I was doing very low nutritious, like, foods. So I was just eating probably salad, like, for lunch and dinner, something very small. I wouldn't eat breakfast because I felt that was probably bad too, because if I wanted to lose weight, I needed to, do all of the calorie deficits and all these things. And so I was really, researching into that. And then, of course, social media really pummels you in that as well, because, you already see the things you want to be. Yep. And then in high school,
comparison game. Oh, yeah.
You play the game. Yeah. And then you also see on there of, like, people who are trying to promote their own way of living. And so they tell you all these things, that this is the way to do it. This is the only way you can lose weight. This is the only way you can look like this. And I was like, yeah, that's the only way I can do it. So I do it to an extreme.
Yeah.
So I, was pretty much then going to the gym every day for about 2 hours, and I'd run like 2 miles, and then I would do weightlifting. And I pretty much would try to lose as many calories as I ate. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I didn't gain any weight. I didn't intake any calories, actually. Everything is just like, I eat it, and then I go work it off and burn it off in the gym. And I was doing that every day. And then I would
2 hours. I have some buddies that are in the gym for hours. I'm like, bro, I can only be in there for like 30 minutes.
I'm at the point now, I'm like, it's hit 20 minutes. Let me get out of here. Like... But yeah, and even running, I'm like, how did I run 2 miles? I'm like, I run a mile and I'm done. And so I was doing that every day, and if I didn't do it, I would, like, feel awful. I'd feel so guilty. I would think, oh my goodness, I'm going to go back to where I was.
Right.
And I started losing weight rapidly, like, very quickly. and people were noticing.
Right.
And it was like, oh, great. And people comment like, oh, you look really great. And I'm like, well, thank you. And so then that was another like push of like, okay, I got to keep going. I'm looking great. And then it wasn't until two of my friends from high school, they were really picking up on like, hey,
This isn't healthy.
this doesn't seem healthy. Like I, don't really know what your lifestyle is right now, but you're losing a lot of weight. And they're like, I can tell. And they also were like, I can also tell in your personality. They're like, you're not as bubbly anymore. You're still very kind, but you're not as enthusiastic as you were. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
They kind of sat me down for like an intervention. They were all like,
And so at what point in high school was this?
yeah, so this would have been this has been senior year of high school.
That's good. You have a good friend group that can sit you down and see stuff.
Right. Very blessed to have had those people that even they cared enough to see that in me and to know who I was and be like, something's not clicking here. Something's not right. So yeah, this probably would have been, because I'm trying to think if it was, because I know when I was on a missions trip was where I was at my lowest. That was a missions trip here through Bethany. So yeah, they sat me down and they're like, something's not right here. Like, let's talk. And I just remember breaking down to them, because at this point I was like, I have been doing this diet. I've been exercising for so long. I can't stop anymore. It's something that I know is not right, but I just can't stop. And I kept going, and and it was the weirdest feeling because, praise God that I knew what I was doing was not right. And I kept telling myself, I was like, I'm not going to have an eating disorder. I refuse to have that. I will make sure that I keep myself from doing that. And then I'm like, but I could just go a little bit further. I could, I ate a little bit of dessert. I splurged a little bit and had a candy, a little piece of candy. I should probably not eat dinner. It was like, okay, and I'm like, I'm still eating. I kept telling myself I'm still eating, but it was like nothing. And so I remember being so straight up with them of I have a problem. I have an issue and I can't stop this. And I just was like, I wish I was still back at this weight. And 'cause I felt better when I was at that weight. And I know that I've been just very my, personality has been affected by it. And, they were like, okay, let's see how we can help. And I think as soon as people started realizing and trying to help me, pride stepped in and I refused any help from them.
Oh, man.
And I will say I ruined those friendships then, because I cut myself off, because I was like, they don't understand. They don't actually know what's going on, what's going on in my brain. Them telling me this, they don't know where, it's not coming from a place of they know what's they know how to cope with it, how to actually heal it. And so I started just getting very much defensive and just did not want to take any help from what they even anything from they're saying, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And so that actually probably was, if I'm thinking about it, that might have actually been ending junior year. And then I went to senior year. No, that was definitely the beginning of senior year, because then I continue into senior year and didn't really change anything. I kept losing weight. At one of my jobs, a lot of friends that I made there, they would also pick up of what's going on here, girl, and they would make comments and I was like, no, it's fine. And I wouldn't really talk to anybody about it because, it was just such a weird thing. I didn't really want to open up about that. Yeah. That's something you don't always like to say.
Yeah.
And then I was still also a leader then at FCA battling this, and which felt very strange of
Right.
like, oh, I right now am not even sure what my identity is, and I'm sitting here trying to lead a group and helping them know what their identity.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have been weird.
I was like, there's a little something strange here. And actually the leader of that, she battled with an eating disorder as well, anorexia. And she was like, hey, is there something going on? Are you okay? And she's like, can we meet up and like talk? And it honestly took that to really like set off a light bulb like in my brain, of like a light switch just kind of
Right.
went off of like, okay, there needs to be something that changes. And also here is a success story out of it. Here's a victory
Right.
that happened. Because she's like, I struggled with that in high school as well. And she was like, this is where I'm at now. And it is something that, so she told me her story. And that was so empowering of just hearing like her testimony with it and the way the Lord used that in her life and like seeing where she is now. I'm like,
Yeah.
you would have never known.
Yeah.
And like she walked me through that and like shared that with me, which was huge. And I was like, okay, like I do need to fix this. This is not okay.
Yeah.
And
I just want to pause there.
Yeah.
Guys, like, this is why testimonies are so
yeah,
powerful.
they are.
And that was a great illustration of that. So
Exactly.
I apologize for cutting you off, but I just wanted to
that's
get that in
perfect.
there.
No, and that's, I think, one of the biggest things I've learned from like my 180 and like my testimony, and why I am just so eager to always share it,
Yeah.
because I've helped so many people. I know how empowered I feel when I hear someone's testimony.
Yeah.
And even if it's not the same story that I've had with somebody, it's still like you see the Lord in it. And
yeah.
it's just like, wow, like he really did that for you and just like saved you in that and just met you in such a vulnerable space and then turned your life around. Like that's huge. And just is like, only God could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then she was always then a huge support throughout the whole thing. And, you know, I wish I could say that from that day, I just started going up from there and was just like
It's a journey.
thriving. It was still a journey. And I kept losing weight to a point where, yeah, even at work,
Like, were you doing the same things, or were you just...
I was doing the same things.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, it was getting like even to a point where I still kept being like, oh, I could just go a little bit longer. I could, you know, lose a few more pounds. I lost all like sense of reality of like, even when I'd look at myself in the mirror, I was, you know, 5'7", and the lowest I got was like 110, I think.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And I would have looked at myself and been like, you could lose a few more pounds. You could just a few more. Like you see like right there in your face, each just a little bit more and you'd be set to go. And I just never was satisfied and never was, you know, I thought once I got to this point, I'll be okay. I'll be happy. I will keep it there. It just kept going. And I remember going to Jamaica then as well. Because even before then, actually, sorry, I'm like...
No, you're good.
Even before then, where I was working, kind of going back to my coworkers, again, another example of, like, somebody else who walked through it as well, being like, hey, are you okay? Like, I've been kind of noticing, like, every week you come to work and you're skinnier. And so then I was like... okay, yeah, this has kind of been what I've been battling with. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, and so she was like, hey, I'm going to a dietitian here in a few weeks. She goes to my church. She's a wonderful person, you know, very Christ-centered, like, practice that she does. It's not going to be like a facility or anything.
Right.
Like, we're just going to meet for coffee. Do you want to come with? And just talk to her about, like, what you're like, how you're eating, kind of what your mindset is. And because she can't necessarily diagnose you, but she'd probably be able to help you like get back on the right track. And I was like, yeah, that actually would be great. Like, cause I was sitting here like, you know what? I'm eating healthy.
Right.
Like maybe I actually am okay. Like, I feel like there's something a little off, but like I'm eating healthy. So maybe that's just my body reacting to healthy eating and working out.
Right.
So we all got coffee, and she, you know, my friend was talking about like what's going on with her. And, you know, the dietitian was like, you know, planning out like, hey, try to eat these kind of foods and like, let's create this meal plan for you, da da da. Then she's like, okay, your turn. We get to me. And I'm like, okay, so this is what I do. And she's like, girl. And I'm like, huh?
Was it that bad?
Is it really that bad? And she was like, yeah, that is like, you're very, like, that's eating disorder. Like, you know, you have an eating disorder.
Yeah.
That broke me. Hearing that, because I was like, no, I don't. I kept convincing myself that I don't have one. And she was like, no, that is the mindset of a person with an eating disorder. And she was like, you may not have like bulimia, or like you may not be bulimic or anorexic, or, you know, but she's like, you have the tendencies of one. And she told me that, kind of hearing what I have, it's more like, it's called like exercise induced anorexia. So when you're anorexic, you don't eat.
Right.
You just, you know, you don't eat anything. With exercise induced anorexia, it's you eat barely anything and then you work out so much. Like you know, run your body to its wit's end pretty much. Right. And so your body shuts down, and I mean, it holds on to some of the fats, but at the same time, like you're like a lot of things in my body just stopped working. Right. Like I was not in a healthy state for anything. And so, yeah. And that's where she's like, that's where I'm sure you thought you were being okay because you were still eating at the end of the day, but you would work it all off in the gym then. And even just having that mindset of like, where the anorexia came in as well was that like, okay, I'm eating, but I need to burn all the calories at it. So it's basically like you didn't eat. Yeah. You know? And so after that, I was like, okay, something does need to change. I need to do better. I wasn't changing. I wasn't doing better. I just kept. And then, you know, and so it's like, you know, I look back at myself. I'm like, why did I? Like,
so silly.
So silly, Paige. Oh my goodness. And, you know, at this point too, I would have still said that I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. I'm following the Lord. But I was such a hypocrite because I did not love what the Lord made. I kept looking at myself and I was like, Lord, you could have done better.
Yeah.
Like, why did you make me like this? Why? And yeah, like, why do I struggle with eating? Why is this what I have to deal with? This is so hard. And, you know, I kept praying. I'm just, Lord, just take this away from me. I don't want this anymore. Like, this isn't fun. It's been a year now. Right. And I'm not healing. I'm actually getting worse. I'm losing more weight. I could go to the hospital. Like, this could get to a point. I mean, I'm always queasy. I'm always wanting, like, I'm almost passing out sometimes. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I've done nothing, you know? Why can't I love myself the way you love me? And so I just kept praying that prayer of like, Lord, just take it away. I'm done. I'm tired. You know, I'd sit there in my bed just crying. I'm like, Lord, I'm tired. I have no energy. You know who I am. You know what my heart is. And I can't pour out to people. Right. Because I'm not pouring into myself either. And so that was such like also a hard battle of just kind of going back with the Lord of like, why is this happening? And I then got to a point where I was like, okay, so actually I think where I had my turning point was, I'm trying to remember if I told my mom before.
Oh, so your parents didn't know?
They didn't know.
Like, they were just like, oh, she's losing weight.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, Dad, if you're listening to this, yeah, I mean, my dad had no idea.
Wow.
My mom was picking up on it, and she like later then told me, because my aunt also struggled with an eating disorder.
Okay.
So my grandma was also picking up on it. So a lot of my family was on my mom's side. So it'd be like my mom, my grandma, my aunt. They were like, something's not right. And so even the questions my mom would ask before I even said anything to her was like, so like, are you not feeling good? And I'm like, what? Like, are you sick? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like,
I'm fine.
You're not eating. And I'm like, I'm just not hungry. You know, I'm not, oh no, I ate like where I was before I ate something. And then I come home and not eat dinner. And, or like I eat something that my mom didn't make. And she'd be like, this is healthy. Why aren't you eating it? And I'm like, oh, because I'm not hungry. Like, oh, I'm not feeling good. I had some food at work. Like, you know, I was just at a dinner, not hungry. So my mom was picking up on it. And I forget where I came home from. But I was like, I need to tell my mom. And I just remember going into her room and just starting like breaking down because I was like, Mom, like I need help. I'm like, I'm not okay. Like I have not been eating. Like I am just at such a low weight. And she was like, I could tell there was something going on. And so we talked about it. And I mean, she even shared with me like her battles when she was like my age. And so she was definitely huge help of like, this is our next steps. And she's like, you're not allowed to weigh yourself anymore. So I would weigh myself like 3 times a day. After every meal, I'd weigh myself. And so she was like, we are taking away the scale. And then she's also like, you will be sitting down at the table and eating, and I will see I will portion how much you're eating, and you're going to eat it all. I'm like, okay. Man. Which was so needed. Like I needed someone to push me in that. And so she was definitely like, and then we had told my grandma about it too. And my grandma was like, here's a nutritionist that we took, like that she would have taken my aunt to. And she's like, I can schedule an appointment to meet with her and we can start getting you back on track with everything. And because at this point I was like, I don't even know like what my levels are at.
Right.
Like blood sugar, blood pressure, like even just like all of those different things. Like I don't know like how far gone like I've put my body. Like where the stress I've put it through, you know, it's sure a lot. And so this would have been, I'm not even sure. This would probably begin like sometime in the summer. So this would have been before I would have went to Jamaica then for a missions trip. And she was booked out until like the fall. So they're like, well, you know what? We'll just schedule the appointment. And I know at first my mom was like, oh, she probably won't need it. Like we'll get her back on track. It's fine. And I was like, well, let's just book it just in case.
Let's have it on the back burner.
Let's have it on the back burner, and we can always cancel it. But just in case, like something, I don't know, if I just don't feel myself going anywhere. And so my grandma scheduled the appointment. It was for October. So I was like, okay, like that's scheduled. So now I just have until then. And you know, we kept making steps towards it, and then I would, you know, take a few steps back. Right. And then I would do some, like, have some improvement, and then I'd take a few steps back. And I know I'd have to, like, track how much weight I'd gain, and I wasn't allowed to work out anymore. And that was a huge thing for me, too, was, like, even a mental battle of, like, you mean, like, I can't go work out because that was the one thing that I needed to be able to do.
Right.
And so there was a lot of just changing habits in my brain. And then, you know, I went to Jamaica and had a wonderful time. I, you know, would send my mom what I was eating so that she could see. My dad was helping me out a lot with that too, because I was still trying to heal. Yeah. And honestly, I think in Jamaica was when I was at my lowest weight. And I got so sick There's a picture, I'm sure my dad has shown so many people. There's a picture of me where I was like so malnourished. Like I didn't have like, I was still, watching what I ate a little too closely. And it was so hot. And so I'm sitting there like sleeping on the bench, waking up, and I was just like, oh my goodness. And yeah, that was definitely a turning point as well. Like, I cannot keep doing this. I'm like, I want to go to Jamaica every other year. Like, I need to be like healthy. And even some of the kids, like, it was like they would look at you and they're like, you're so skinny, like twig. And you're like, yeah.
And you're American?
Yeah, you're American. What is this? And so when I got back, I just kept kind of trying to change things, trying to do better, trying to heal, telling people that I am, still going through the motions, still wondering why this is, my thing. And I just remember it was one night I was sitting there in my bed and I just started breaking down. So I was like, I know I'm having the support from people. I am doing the right things.
Right.
Why am I still having this struggle? Why is my mindset still like what it is?
Right.
Why am I not like back up to the way that I used to be? And I remember sitting there just like crying out to the Lord. I was like, I just need you to heal me. And I just like remember him saying like, I need you to not ask me to take it away. Like you need to pray differently of like, to
give me broader shoulders to handle.
Yeah, exactly. To know how to live with this and how like pray how to live my life with this as a thorn in my side and to not like let this overcome me. So I just remember being like, you know what, Lord? Okay, if you're not going to take it from me, help me to like overcome it, give me victory, and help me to be able to live with it. And so yeah, I just remember praying that hard prayer because I didn't want to pray that. I was like, no, just take it completely away. Like, I don't want to live with this. And it was the next morning. Like, I'm not, before I would have been like, oh, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. I'm not even joking. When it was a flip of the switch, the morning I woke up, I was just like, I'm done.
That's a God thing. Man, that's all because you changed how you prayed.
I changed how I prayed. I didn't just ask the Lord just to take it completely away because I didn't want to deal with this anymore. I didn't know why I was having this part of my life. I was like, Lord, I don't want this anymore. And he's like, I'm giving you a platform. Like, yeah, this kind of sucks, but I'm giving you a way to like reach other people. And I'm like seeing that now. But he genuinely just like, it was a flip of a switch. I didn't trust my mindset before. I couldn't make decisions for myself.
Right.
I woke up being like, I am going to eat this much. I'm going to do this because I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with this, holding me captive. I'm done with this controlling my life.
Right.
And it was from there. Even my mom was like, you made that decision for yourself? I'm like, well.
God help.
God helped me with that one. And like even the ways that I was able to keep myself accountable, I was not able to do that before.
Wow.
And there were things that I would like do for myself and like make the decision and was like, oh, it was crazy. And then what was incredible too, so I was started then, and really just felt the Lord like moving in that too of like healing me, giving me victory, giving me a different mindset and a different like vision of what this was. Like it wasn't just me having an eating disorder and struggling with it, but it was me suffering for the Lord and like having like doing this battle with him by my side because, this is life. There's going to be things that we battle with and different, the ups and downs, and this was mine. And October comes around and I'm, have already been doing a lot better. I still wanted to go because I was like, I would love to have like help and like understanding of nutrition so that, I can keep myself at a healthy weight
Yeah.
and can stay healthy. And like, it's important to know nutrition, like of, and I went there and we were talking and I was telling her my story and kind of like the past couple of like the last year or two and just, the weight I was at, and she was taking my blood sugar, my blood pressure, like they did all like this different tests on me. And she looks at me and she's like, girls come in here at like having the same problem as you. Different intensities, different spots in their life. She's like, but you were at such a low weight and you're sitting here and you wanted to meet with me. She's like, that's a huge step. She's like, I really I'm proud of you for that. And I was like, thank you. And she was also like, I'm looking at your charts here. And so I had lost my period for 7 months, which is very, very unhealthy. That is not. And she was like, with having that lost for as long as you had, your organs are fine. She's like, they're great. Like, I don't see anything wrong in your body. She's like, the only thing that I see is your blood sugar's a little low because you haven't had sugar for so long. She's like, and yeah, your blood pressure is a little low too. She's like, but she was even just like, this is crazy that you don't have more problems than you do. She's like, and you're eating already. Like, I just encourage you to eat a little more. She's like, you're eating and hearing what you're eating, it's healthy. Just add a little more to it.
Yeah.
And that was just so mind blowing to me of the Lord genuinely, he kept me at such a spot, even the whole time. If I didn't have the Lord, I would have been just so down in the dirt.
Right. And
probably I could have went even further. But the Lord kept me and was just like, no.
Yeah, and just had his hand on you the whole time.
Yeah.
Organs, everything.
Exactly. And kept me safe with how my body was going to heal after it, and not me not having to do extra. I just had to take some supplements and add some more protein and, eat a little bit more. And I wasn't able to work out right away either because she's like, well, that was your biggest trigger is working out.
Let's pause on that.
Let's take a little bit of pause. Until you get your period back, let's hold off. But yeah, just even the way that the Lord showed himself in that too, of I could have been so sick out of it.
I was surprised. I've heard stories like that, and it's hospital.
No, literally. Yeah. I know somebody who it was hospital, rehab, all these things. And for me to because she told me, she asked me, have you ever seen a counselor? And I'm like, no. And she was like, that's crazy.
But you have, and it's the big man upstairs.
And I'm like, but let me tell you one thing. And so even through that whole thing, I just remember even leaving that, just crying and just being like, Lord, thank you. This whole time, I've you've been holding me in your hands and you've been walking with me. You never left. Even when I thought you did, even when I thought you were you know what? I'm just even when I thought you turned your back, you didn't. Yeah. The whole time you just wanted me to come back to you and to run back and to surrender to you. You're just waiting for that. And then when I did, you're like, thank you.
Finally, Paige.
Finally. Oh my goodness. It took so long.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
So I feel like you answered two of the questions that were in there.
I saw you scrolling and I'm like, oh, I'm making it down.
That saves me time. So, and you can tie this into the NextGen stuff, but what's God been doing in your life now? Post 180, post eating disorder.
So many things. I mean,
and we are at 45 minutes, just so you know. So
I knew I was gonna go. I knew it. I told you. I was like, this is not just gonna be 30 minutes.
Smithkey, she's coming for you, brother.
When you scheduled it for 7:30 to 8, I said,
She has two cups of coffee in, and I'm still working on one.
I'm actually not even have coffee yet. You just wait until I get coffee in me. Oh goodness.
All right. So yeah, what's God been doing in your life currently?
So many things. Yeah, I even with like joining into the ministry with NextGen, which I'll get into then. But yeah, I mean, I feel like since that, just my walk with the Lord has just gotten so much stronger, and I've seen the Lord in just so many different ways, and just had more of a personal relationship with him, and just seeing his hand in just a lot of my life, and wanting to, help others with that as well. And so even just through the friendships that I've like made, like through different ministries as well, the Lord has I even got to share my story at FCA a year later. That's and go awesome. Back and like meet with the girls like at Cacalico and just share my story and be somebody that people could turn to, like if they had this issue as well, and just needing a victory story, like needing somebody who had victory from it. And even now, like a lot of relationships, a lot of friendships that I've made, like I found out that they also are struggling. And so being able to walk alongside them with that and like know how to pray for them and know how, like what their mindset is and genuinely what they are thinking, like I'm able to. So the Lord has like been bringing so many people into my life that have an eating disorder as well, or have developed one. And he has used my story and even my personality, like came back 10 times stronger, which we love. And I'm a very outgoing person and very open. And so he has definitely been highlighting that in my life and strengthening that for me to open up to people very quickly. And like even with this story, like people who have eating disorders, they don't typically go out and tell everybody about it. They don't walk down the streets and they're like, I starved myself, like kind of situation. And so like, but me, when someone will comment, like even before when someone would comment of like, oh, you look really good, and I'm like, don't do this. I'm like, I have not been eating very well. And they're like, oh. And then that opened a door. And then even me being open with like my walk and like the struggles that I had, people would come up to me and be like, hey, like, can I talk to you? I want to hear more about that. I'm struggling. And so the Lord has definitely put me in such a position, which I've been so thankful for, of just being welcoming to people, being a safe place for people to just like even about anything, like, and just being really empathetic towards people as well. And being able to not all the time feel exactly what they're feeling, because, there might be a struggle that someone's walking through that I have not personally done. Right. But being able to still be there for them and like pray with them and like be someone they can talk to. And so he's really like just orchestrated a bunch of ways for me, even like in my job, like what I do right now. I have the ability to meet so many people and like just go talk to them and kind of hear what's going on in their life. And, by the grace of God, they'll open up to me. And some people have been very vulnerable, and I'm like, we just met 5 minutes ago. This is great. And then I get to pray with them. And even stepping into now this ministry, which that was even a crazy thing too, because I wanted to go to Jamaica for 3 months for an internship at an orphanage. And just nothing was like coming together. Things were not falling into place. And that was probably like 3 years ago when I wanted to go. And I had the application filled out and I just needed to send it in. And I was just like, something in me was just like, don't do it. Don't do it. You're not going to be like, it's going to be a hard hit when you go, because that's not where you're supposed to be right now. And I just felt the Lord was just like, no, you need to stay in Lancaster. Like, you need to understand that, like, this is like your mission field right here. And so then I just kept trying to figure out, like, what is that though? And then, I kept outside of like, just in my normal walk, it was like, oh, I ran into this person that is battling with something and they want to talk with me and they want to like, we want to walk through this together. And, oh, this person I just ran into just met, like, they also have an eating disorder and they don't know what victory looks like. And they don't have anybody in their life that has had victory from it. And so then I would be able to walk through them with that. And then it came up to then, I still always was like, I want to do ministry. I'm like, I just have, like, there's something in my heart that's just like, you need to do this. And then that's when the opportunity of doing NextGen.
Can't say the other word anymore.
Can't say it, especially on here. Probably can't.
Yeah.
Not quite yet. We're getting there. But yeah, and I just feel like my heart for young adults just really like started growing of just like this generation. Because, you know, of course, you know, the younger generation you want to keep pouring into, and I am very passionate about them as well, of like, hey, especially like in high school, it's like,
no more word, yeah.
This is where like your foundation is being like formed, where you're finding out who you are. And so that's why it was so huge for me to have like been able to go back and like talk to them and like even share my story and how much like high school even formed me and like tested my faith a lot. Oops, that almost fell. I also, though, just see, like, you know, being a young adult myself, I'm like, there is such a need. It's like a whole different, like, it's kind of like high school again, where you're figuring out, you're just older.
More responsibilities, all that.
To have to juggle, plus figuring out who am I? Like, what am I doing with my life? And I know even me trying to figure out like different, like going to different young adults, like there hasn't always been a big one here at Bethany. So I would go to other young adults ministries and I was not finding community. You know, it was a great place. There's great people. But I just was like, I want to be able to get involved. And I don't feel called to be getting involved to this one, or like, and then I also just don't feel the community, like the draw to this one at all. And so that's where then when the opportunity of doing something here, I was like, something like needs to happen here. We need to have just in Lancaster in general. And that's when the Lord really put that on my heart of like, okay, even, you know, starting it up with Josh and Isaac of like, okay, once that kind of kicked off, it was like immediate, like, yep, this is what I want to be doing. Yeah. This is what the Lord had, you know, was telling me 3 years ago. That this is where you're supposed to.
I'm excited for them because we were going to go to the last one. Just didn't work out. But
hey, I'll be here at the next one.
Now I have an excuse to be at the next one.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I didn't even know you drum. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I've been drumming. Jeez. I've been tapping on walls since I was 9 years old. A drum set since, 9 or 10. But it's been a while.
Well, you'll shake the dust off and it'll be great. I'll test you.
Yeah. No. Oh, I won't need testing. I'll probably be the one testing you guys. But no, we'll wrap this up quick. This is the fun trick question, which is easy. If you had one piece of advice, and you can choose either or here, for the younger generation or the older generation, what would it be? No pressure.
No pressure at all.
Next gen person, so choose carefully here.
Well, with that in mind, I should probably. No, honestly, yeah. I mean, I think with a huge part of my story is definitely comparison, and I think one piece of advice is that, like, you know, like. Oh, I don't even know how to word this. I guess know who you are in the Lord and praise God for who you are. Because you're different.
And you're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Exactly. And there's nobody else on this earth like you.
Yeah.
And you are created to do something so different for his glory all together in one body of Christ.
I love that. I love that. Do you have anything else you want to add? Oh, she just did the mic drop, so we're wrapping up. I don't even know you that well, and your story is so powerful. I always like Isaac and I have dabbled like, oh, should we give Evan like pre-notes on the people? And I'm like, I kind of like being like in shock a little bit, and I'm like, wow, this is such an interesting story. And like, this is the first time we met. I've seen you around, and you're gonna do awesome. Yeah, nice to meet you. You're gonna do awesome things with NextGen. I can already tell with your personality and outgoingness and all that. So, you sure nothing else you want to add?
Well, I feel we're probably at an hour, so
no, you beat Mitch Schmidtke.
Let's go. I'm a competitor over here.
Well, church and Paige, thank you again. Church, this has been the 180 podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll do a little plug mic drop here. Yes. We are looking into getting some hats. So there will be a thing like, hey, a random drawing. If you like, subscribe, share, post on your Facebook, whatever.
Do I get a hat?
You may get a hat.
Let's go.
You may get a hat. All right, church. Till next time.